Brian here with Prudential Pest Solutions. And what we are about to treat here is a yellow jacket nest inside of a wall in a bedroom in a home in Sinking Spring, which is in Berks County, Pennsylvania. So you can see I'm feeling where the soft spot is. So what the homeowner originally was noticing was they were getting yellow jackets in the room, and then they noticed that on the outside of this window, which is directly above the work area here, they saw a lot of yellow jackets coming and going into a gap below the window. So they weren't coming through the window, they were coming through a gap below the window, and then they made their nest in the void, in that wall void. So you can see I'm pushing how soft that is. Now what's interesting about this one is, as opposed to our other videos, is that the other videos show the nest behind drywall, and this is an older home, so this actually has plaster lath. And what plaster lath is, and you'll see when I open it up, is plaster's a lot thicker than drywall, and it's mounted to these wooden slats that are behind the wall. So the fact that it's that soft right there just, obviously told me that's where the nest was, but it's kind of unusual to see that kind of softness behind the wall in a plaster lath style home. So you can see I'm kind of, and what I'm trying to do is just remove this layer of paint and a layer of the plaster, just so I can get access to the nest itself. So you see I'm kind of just making these little poke holes in all the soft areas, because our philosophy is that we're not just going to radically open up just giant sections of your wall. I'm only going to remove the area that's already damaged. So that's an area that's already going to have to be replaced anyway. So we really only need maybe 6 inches to do the treatment. So I don't need to cause any more damage than is really necessary. So you can see I'm just using my drywall saw here just to kind of poke some holes. And you just see how soft that is. It just goes right through. And you see as a little bit of that opening opens up there, a yellow jacket immediately comes out. So we know we're right where we need to be. So of course I have my bee suit on. I have my tarp down. And we're gonna, the general flow of the treatment's gonna be, we're gonna apply an aerosol into that void, which is a quick killing aerosol, and there's the outside where the yellow jackets are coming from. And then they're going straight down inside the wall there. But we're gonna apply this aerosol called PTPI. And if you've seen other videos, you know that that's my favorite product to use because it works really quickly. It permeates the whole void and it doesn't leave any residual. So you can see there's a paper of the nest there, but I can't just reach in and grab it, because you'll see as I remove some of the paper of that nest that there's all those wooden slats that are running horizontally across there. So I'm just poking and prodding with my applicator nozzle there just to get the product into the nest, and then what we'll do is we'll start removing it. And what I'm waiting for here is, when you first apply this aerosol product into the wall void, into the nest, that whole nest just comes alive, and you'll hear just this loud buzzing in there, and that means that the chemical's working. The yellow jackets know something's wrong, and I usually wait till it quiets down a little bit before we start really removing stuff, because we want to let the chemical do the work for us. So you can see as I remove some of the paper backing, we can see some of the wood right there. And that wood's not structural at all. All that's doing is that's what they put the plaster on top of. So it's just a mounting surface, and it just spans between the wall joists, or the wall framing, I should say. So when the time comes to actually remove this nest, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut through some of that lath of that wood. Because again, it's not structural, it's not holding the house together, it's just holding that section of the wall that's already damaged. Because, I mean, frankly, if they have to repair this little section anyway, we might as well get the whole nest out. So everything I'm removing right now, that's just the paper. And yellow jackets, just like hornets and some of these other stinging insects, even though they're in a structure, they still make this paper covering over their nest. So the more areas I expose, the more areas I'm just going to apply that PTPI, that aerosol into, just to make sure we have complete coverage. Because once we start removing the nest, we want to, I know you can see in the video here that some yellow jackets are flying into the bedroom, and we're going to get all them cleaned up and removed. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to just open up and just let yellow jackets just start flooding into the room. Not that we can't get it all taken care of for them, but it just makes cleanup a little harder. And I think what this video is also a good illustration of in our industry in general is that even though I have, the best products in the industry, I have the best protective equipment, and we can do everything the right way, and we're still going to have some yellow jackets flying around. So you still have to be comfortable working around stinging insects. So it's not just so much, I don't think anybody can just get in there. There's a kind of cool one. He lands right on my camera there. Hello there, yellow jacket. Sorry about your home. Landed right on the camera. But you have to be comfortable working around stinging insects, because no matter how well the job goes, you're still going to have a few that come out. Which is why at the very end, I'm pretty meticulous about, using a flashlight, making sure that we find every last yellow jacket that did come into the room, so that when we leave, not only is the nest treated and removed, but every yellow jacket's removed as well. So these homeowners can go right back to using this bedroom like nothing happened, and they can take their time and find somebody who's actually can repair the wall, and they won't have to worry about getting stung. So there's another shot of that lath, which is that wood there. And it's real thin too. Like, we don't need a, I think at first here I'm going to try to use my branch cutting saw here, but that's, you can just see it splintering, because that lath is maybe only a 1/4 inch thick at most. But you want to be careful, because if you start cutting through it, you don't want to damage other sections of the wall. Again, it's not structural, but it's more cosmetic. We don't want to damage, cause more damage to the homeowner they're going to have fixed. So you can see I can just bend it and break it. And then behind there, that's where the wall void is. So there's a big section of nest we just removed. Another big section. So, and all that white on the nest there, those are all the capped brood cells, which would be new yellow jackets that would emerge here in the next days and weeks. And I also think it's worth noting too that where the nest is, you can see the windows above me. So that's where the homeowners were noticing yellow jackets coming into the structure. But where the actual nest was about 3 feet down. So as a homeowner, your inclination would be, well, maybe I get a ladder, I get on the outside, and I just spray some Raid or something on the outside. I'll kill those yellow jackets. But you're never going to reach where the actual nest is. So are you going to kill some yellow jackets? Sure. Are you going to resolve the issue, though? No. And this is the only way to really do that. So I'm just pulling out just giant handfuls. You can see that handful there was just a ton of dead yellow jackets. And that was from the initial treatment that we did to begin with. Like I said, that product works very, very quickly, which is why I like it. So I'm just going to make sure this entire void is cleaned out, get all the yellow jacket, all the nests out. There's the windowsill there. Now, the few yellow jackets that do come into the room, they're not going to be hard to find, because what ends up happening is that they're going to congregate to wherever a light source is. So, in a situation like this, I don't turn on the bedroom light, because I have my own lights, number one. But two, I want to try to confine them to the only light source in the room. So in this case, there's a window right there, which is why you see so many of them right there, because as they come into the room, their first inclination is to get out. They don't want to be in there either. So it kind of confines them to the room, which is also why they'll go towards my flashlight or my camera in a really dark space, because they think that's a way out. All right, so here's another view of the windowsill here. We're just getting more stuff out, more of the nesting material, I should say. And I'll show you on the outside too what we're going to do to take care of the ones on the outside. that are still flying around, because there's nothing stopping the ones flying on the outside from coming into the nest where the nest used to be. So what we're going to end up doing is I'm going to apply a long-term dust, an insecticidal dust or powder from the outside where they're coming in from. And then I'm also going to apply that same product into that wall void that we just removed the nest from. And what that's going to do is any yellow jackets that make it into that are going to be killed, which is what we want. So now we got the nest out. I got it bagged up in my tarp. And we'll always have a vacuum with this because I'm going to get all that cleaned up. Because when I leave, there should be no evidence other than some tape on the wall where the nest, where we had to open it up. So here's my vacuum here. And I use a backpack vacuum. Milwaukee makes this one. Has a lot of power to it, but more importantly, it's just so mobile that I can just get into every little nook and cranny and get all the yellow jackets cleaned up. Even the live ones, I just suck them right up. And I'll actually put that into the wall void itself, just to vacuum up all the dead ones in there too. Again, it's just cosmetic, but we just want to leave the area just super clean and insect free. Now, like I said, this house was in Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania, which is kind of in western Berks County in southeastern Pennsylvania. Pretty close to our office. Our office is in Wernersville, so this was only maybe 2-3 miles away. And they found us online. I actually think they saw one of our other videos, and they were like, these are the people we need out here. So I think that's always kind of neat when people see our videos and they're like, hey, these are the pros, we need them. And you can see for that big nest that we took out of there, I mean, we just need to take care of this cleanup wise, just this tiny little area here. And that's a combination of our preparation and the chemicals that we use. All right, so now that the bulk of the cleanup's done, but you can see it, the yellow jacket just jumped out of there. And that's just because, they're still coming in from the outside. So what I want to do now is just tape off this opening so that no new yellow jackets come into the house itself. And then we'll treat that void. And then treat from the outside, and we'll be all set. And it's kind of tough to see in the video, but that yellow jacket that just came out of there was white. And the reason for that is because I had already applied some of that insecticidal dust to that void. So he had come across that. So he was going to die no matter what. But again, we'll vacuum him up and get him out of there. So now everything's taped off. Now nothing new can come in from the outside. So the room is essentially secure now. And I don't want to brag, but our tape job is pretty good that, if they didn't want to repair it, they just wanted to look at that nice tape, they could do that too. So we can see on the other side of this window here, there was a roof overhang. So it would not have even been the easiest thing to do if the homeowner wanted to try to get some Raid or some spray into there. But I have my bulb duster here, and I'm just going to apply it all throughout where they were getting in. And it looks like smoke, but it's actually a dust. And it doesn't take much. So now we're actually done with the treatment completely, on the inside I should say. And then on the outside, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray the area on the outside just with a liquid insecticide just to make sure we got everything taken care of. But get everything cleaned up and we'll be all set. So like I said, this job was in Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania, which is in Berks County, Pennsylvania. And we are the yellow jacket, hornet, wasp, and bee experts. So if you have a pest issue, give Prudential Pest Solutions a call or text us at 484-401-4361 because we would love to be your yellow jacket exterminators.